Hello, NSL world. We're back again. Klemm and Cornhill. Look, I'll put the name to you. Klemm Hill was coined by one of our favorites, favorite admins, Lattice. I don't know. I think I'll let it sort of grow on me and see if we might, make it official. But yeah, I don't mind either. But again, latest episode. I don't even know what episode we're up to, but it's going to be a long list of episodes to come. So, but yeah, we thought we did say that we'd drop a pod when it was time to address the finals, and there's a lot of other things to discuss. First and foremost, special edition. It's the awards podcast. Shout out to Lattice. So he was the one that ran the show in terms of the awards. This year. It's a lot of work. Take it from me. I did it last year, and I'd fucking never do it again. And I think Lattice took some, words from me in terms of a bit of advice, just to sort of half-ass it, because otherwise you'll get in too deep. But we'll get to it. Of course, my guest is always part of the fantastic duo, Cornhill, Corndog, C Dizzle. How you going, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. I'm glad to get back on. I've enjoyed the time off, but look, I just can't get away. Doesn't mean that I haven't been still investing hours into this at my family's dismay. But look, we'll get into it. We're keen to go all night long. We got that Zoom premium account, care of yours truly, C-Dog. So. Look, let's just run until the wheels fall off, pretty much.
It's gonna be a long one, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, we fucking go on for ages, but there's plenty to cover. We want to, obviously address what's going on at the moment in the NSL, which is the finals, and obviously the sort of outcome of the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals. We won't spend too much on that one. We'll probably deep dive on that once the finals have come to an end, and we've got a winner for the 2020 to 21 year. So our second year in NSL goes quick, man. But yeah, look, well, I'll throw it to you. You can take whichever you want, whichever conference. But what were the things that surprises, takeaways? What were your thoughts?
I think I wouldn't say I'm too surprised by the results at the moment. Like seeing these two teams there, like the Pistons were the most dominant team in the East all year.
Yeah.
And when Kawhi went out with injury, like the door was wide open for someone in the West, and that was always San Antonio that was going to be the second best team there. So I wouldn't say I'm too surprised by the final matchup. Both conference finals were really good. The Western one was quite interesting. Like, couple of interesting lineups there, like Westbrook at center and stuff, like going back to that Houston year that he had where he was playing center most of the time, where they sent out Capella and stuff. But Westbrook at center.
I thought he was joking when he said that, and then he actually ran it out. And it's like, fuck, this guy's lost.
But it's like we touched on before too, like this engine, like you can just throw whatever together and it works, or like it doesn't really fail in a way. Like
I hate it so much. I don't know if those feelings would still be mirrored if I was actually, put up any sort of realistic sort of run in the postseason. But it's trash, man. I hated this engine and these sort of settings. But I agree. It's one thing to sort of say or to give us a bit of a throwback to last year, the whole sort of cheese lord, or anything cheese related saga and banter that was thrown about in the Discord channels. This is next level. This is high grade pure cheese. We flew too close to the sun. Like, I don't know what else to say. And that sort of, and he actually won. Like, and it's just like, it's so disgusting. Like, it's so disgusting. I like personally, I caught a little bit here and there, but I haven't even really watched many of the games sort of past sort of say the first and second round, because it just, I don't know, man. It just kind of it's just really I don't know. It's I don't know the sort of wording for it, but it's just they're just putting up a whole bag of points, and it just doesn't really seem like it's sort of like a legitimate game, kind of like if
Yeah,
that makes sense. I don't know, man. It's just one game. It's 130 to 120, and the next one's 140 to 130. Like it's just not. You don't get this sort of ebb and flow of a series where like it's to blow out one game and then it's like this grind out the next, and then you're like, oh wow, that was so you're really paying attention to the adjustments, and you sort of, I guess you're able to give praise to each respective GM for making an elite adjustment or figuring something out. You're like, oh holy shit, that was because they moved that guy to that position and they had that matchup. Now it just seems like, oh, just whoever's got the most fucking cheese wins, like so. Each to their own, but that's kind of how I felt. And maybe I was a little bit sort of damaged after the outcome of this season. I just wanted to walk away. So, but look, I feel the same. It was it was good and everything. It was good to see the sort of teams that these guys have put together. Speaking about West, it was a gentleman's sweep, but really rough for J-Mac to sort of not have Kawhi, and that was like obviously really deep in the postseason, and only really because he's Kawhi was still playing in the NBA sort of postseason. If he had any sort of other star that sort of mailed it in before the postseason, was on a lottery team, then you just get him for the whole time. So it was really rough to sort of not see Thanos at full strength. But I'll take a little bit of sweet justice away from that. Seeing JJ give it to him, and I'm sure he does as well. But all's fair in love and war. So look, not a whole lot to say about the Western one there, but with the East, look, I don't really have a whole lot to say. I mean, what are you thinking, or what are your thoughts on the East? West, final. Yep.
I think like Mauricio had it kind of rough all year. I think like with the way this engine is geared towards like small shifty guards and all that kind of stuff, and his best player being Anthony Davis, like I think it's just tough because they don't seem as like potent as they have been in previous engines. So like I think like it would have been hard, but he did well to get to where he did, like getting into the conference finals from the 6th seed and stuff, and going against Philly and all that, and he had a tough run there, and he got there, and I think that was it 4-1 or 4-2? I can't remember.
Yeah. He won for it. I think from memory, Benny went up earlier and it was like smashed him, and I was like, Mauricio, you had a good run, sort of thing. Like, and he's just like, just you wait. Like I'm not even gonna try and butcher his accent, but it would have been slick as fuck. And and he just rattled off 4 in a row, and I think game 6, like Benny had made some adjustments where it was like a decent game, but the other 3 before that, like he just manhandled him, and I was just like, wow, like we're seeing greatness, we're witnessing greatness, and like head and shoulders, I sort of put this sort of postseason run way above what he did last year in terms of what he had and what the players that he had and the engine and limitations. It just doesn't make sense to me when his team was fucking stacked as fuck as well. Like you got Wall, who's always going to be a 2K sort of stud. Beal, AD, like just like crazy bigs. Mills, like those moves that he made in the off season. Apart from it's been covered, but apart from the whole sort of wizardry with the salary situation, he made moves that made him better on paper, and somehow like his team just wasn't dialed into sort of what the engine liked this year. So it was really sort of it was a good run, and I give him massive props for that. Obviously I still would have thought either team coming out west would have smashed him, and I'm sure he probably was aware of that as well. But it was a bit of an anticlimax with the sweep there at the hands of Sheed, and much like the I guess dynamic between JJ and JMac, it was mirrored with Sheed and Mauricio, who are good friends, and I'm sure there was a whole lot going on behind the scenes between them two. And I'm sure Sheed will hang this on the mantelpiece, getting this one over Mauricio. So look, that's probably really all I have to say about those.
I just want to like that Lowry trade that Sheed pulled off middle of the year or whenever it was is like it's changed the dynamic of the whole, like how the years played out. Like
You caught it last episode. I think you sort of said it was your pick, or arguably you sort of said it was the best trade of the season, and then I'd probably have to tend to agree. I mean, off the top of my head, I really can't sort of think of a trade that was more impactful or just sort of value for money type thing. And he's done well to sort of put together his team in a way that, even though Lowry has signed, Lowry's a sign and trade, isn't he? Oh, well, at least he will. Off the top of your head, what did he give up for Lowry? It was fuck all, wasn't it?
It was Dragic, a first, and something else.
Yeah, who would be Dragic? I mean, he's damaged goods. Yeah, fuck Dragic. But yeah, it's relatively speaking, in terms of what Lowry brings, especially in this engine. He got him pretty good, and he's obviously now going to get some pretty good value, given the fact he's tough that it's a sign and trade, but I'm sure he'll live not having to pay Lowry $30 million for the next 3 years. So.
It was Dragic, Barton, and a first.
Yeah, well, there we go. So, Barton now obviously found his way to the Kings. Maybe Barton and Dragic will be teammates again. Who knows? That's crazy 2K world. But that's all I got to say about those. There wasn't a whole lot other than just giving each of the respective team their props for getting it done. And look, as we speak, obviously game 1 of the finals is on between JJ and his Spurs, the world beaters, and obviously Sheed and his Pistons, who seems like he's just sort of cracked the game. And when I say cracked, it just means just play whatever position, and just hope for the best. What are the scores?
Bam starting at small forward.
What's that?
Bam starting at small forward.
Oh, fuck. Well, what position isn't he going to play over the course of the series, do you think?
Yeah, that's it. It's at the end of 1, and the Pistons are up 35-28. So,
I mean, it's
early days.
It's pretty much, with these kind of teams, it's a game within a game, quarter by quarter sort of thing. You sort of like, oh, this guy's coming out strong, and then JJ would drop a 45 point to 11 quarter, and then the same will happen the next quarter, for Sheed. It's ridiculous. So. I'll catch a bit here and there, as I said, but they're just two sort of titans going at it, while us mere mortals are just floundering about down in the shallows. So, but we'll move on. We don't want to spend too much time on that because we do have a lot to cover. Let's get to the awards. I've been waiting for this one. We've had to sort of it was good timing to bring it in right as the finals started. But I've been sort of pretty keen to give the results out and talk a bit of shit with my man Sea Dog. So we'll get the shit ones out of the way that no one cares about. So GM of the year. The way we'll do this, I reckon, because you're pretty good with this. So I'll throw out the award. You give me your sort of picks. I might sort of have a few comments about it. And then we'll, drum roll and announce the winner. And I'll say the top 3, unless I sort of see any reason to maybe throw in another guy if it's a close race or whatnot. And we'll give a shout out when necessary, I think. So, GM of the year, who do you think wins?
I don't even think it's close. I personally have J-Mac number 1. If you're going 78-4 and you're not winning GM of the year, I think that's just pettiness or almost
exactly. And if it was anyone else but J-Mac, you'd be it's not even in question. But that slight sort of voice in your head goes, people do really not like J-Mac, so maybe that's the case. I'm just kidding, J-Mac. Everyone loves you, man. But GM of the year, I would also sort of pick J-Mac. So that's the homer pick. Obviously, it's probably more interesting to talk about who might come in runner-up, but we'll try and rattle through it because we'll be spending a lot of time on the big awards and obviously the teams. So we'll try and keep this as short as possible. But let's see. So of course I've got the results here. I'll run through how close it was and just how many first place votes each guy got. But yes, the GM of the year for the 2020 to 21 NSL season. Does go to J-Mac, of course. As you mentioned, you just really can't get past that record. It's ludicrous, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be replicated again. So it's just sort of a perfect storm of both his team being stacked to the 9, but also the engine just more than willing to get down on their knees for J-Mac's team. So J-Mac won it with 50 overall points, 7 first place votes. It was a lot closer. We're both talking about it being a bit of a landslide and quite obvious, but it's a lot closer. So I think that sort of mix of envy, hate, and everything, those emotions for J-Mac is quite strong in the league, as he only won by 5 points, as the runner-up was Smokey, so the New York Knicks GM, 45 points. So he was only 5 points behind. He got 5 first place votes.
Smokey was my second place for GM. That was my vote.
It's pretty much, we talked about this, and our top 3 was sort of pretty much a lock. You really couldn't go past him. The third guy being obviously Nels, who was right behind him in third place at 43. He actually had more first place votes, with 6 first place votes over 5 for Smokey, but obviously Smokey got there in the end. It might have even been a cheeky sort of second or third vote from J-Mac just to fuck over JJ or something that got him there in the end. But it was quite close. So props to those guys. J-Mac winning it, and obviously Smokey and Nels coming in a close second. For me personally, I know, again, because we've talked about it, you mirror the same. But Smokey just turned a team around from fuck all, really, and just had an absolute horde of picks, which he'd done well to get, and just utilised it perfectly, and just picked up some big names and made some big moves. Obviously, close to the end of the season, he made the move for Middleton and DJ, which saw some success, but he probably didn't have adequate time frame to sort of really work it out properly. And when coming up against those sort of top elite teams, it really doesn't fucking matter. So he's done very well, and obviously it's recognised throughout the league. And JJ, I mean, look, he also he's been overshadowed by J-Mac, but he won 70 plus games as well. So that's another thing I don't think we'll see, 2 teams winning 70 plus games, because it just means there's a whole lot
unreal seasons.
A whole lot of suckage down the bottom of the standings for that to happen. So good on you, boys. J-Mac, good on you for winning GM of the year. Who won GM last year? Did J-Mac win last year?
I think it was J-Mac. Yeah, I think it was J-Mac.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Probably J-Mac. Fuck. Yeah. So we'll move on. Not a whole lot to see there in terms of that one. So we'll go along to the next shittest award, most improved, which like I said, it'll mean a little bit more next year and for years to come, when we've got a bit of a sample size and some young guys.
This one's a crapshoot at the moment.
Yeah, exactly right. So we'll bring it up, and I can't. I mean, I know who wins, obviously, but I have looked at this, but I just can't remember who sort of came in sort of second and third. So we'll bring it up and get a bit of an idea. So let's see. So got a big list here. So most improved. This is a super close one. It's a little bit controversial. This stings a little bit for me as well, because this is one of my boys who took out this award. Half the league's my boys, but I'll claim it anyway. But who are the guys that you would sort of put up there in terms of being most improved?
I honestly can't remember who I voted for, but I think I had like Jaylen Brown up there, or who else did I have up there? I can't remember. The voting was that long ago.
Man. Yeah,
but
I mailed it in.
Yeah, I think Jaylen Brown was my number 1 vote.
Yeah. I'm almost certain I just sort of closed my eyes and mashed the keyboard, because like I care so deeply about most improved. But yeah, like I really, yeah, like you said, it's just like oh, who played good this year, and it's not really like in the top sort of 50. I'll just give it to that guy. But look, we'll get to it because you can name a whole bunch of dudes, but um, we have a tie for. There is a winner. Let me finish, but we have a tie in terms of overall points that will have to be decided on first place votes in the end, and that was between Bogdan Bogdanovic, who obviously is now he's on Cleve, the Cavs, isn't he? He's bounced around a couple of times, I think, but
he's on Cavs at the moment.
Yeah, that's right, and was tied overall points with Colin Sexton of the Clippers. So good on them too for repping their squads. But obviously Bogdan did win. He had 7 first place votes over Colin's 6, but they both finished with 43 points overall. So most improved ended up being actually quite interesting in terms of how it all panned out. And your boy there, your pick, Jaylen Brown, came in at 39 overall points and 5 first place votes. So pretty close race in the end.
Close.
Yeah, other names there. D'Angelo Russell. I think just was mainly because of a benefit of the engine. Devin Booker, Julius Randle, Terry Rozier, and then it's just a whole sort of laundry list of guys that people just sort of slapped around. So well done for Bogdan and the Cavs picking up a nice piece there. Who's still young and on a 4-year contract, I believe. And I regret he's one of my regrets there, especially with how things have sort of panned out. It would have been nice to have a young wing heading into his prime, but we'll move along and we'll go to the next one. We got 6th man of the year. This one was sort of one of the ones I was looking forward to because there's some decent candidates, and look, there was a couple sort of front runners. Obviously, there was a few that only just missed by a handful of games in terms of eligibility. Starting more games and then coming off the bench, and a few guys that sort of bounced around a bit and sort of may have played the first sort of third of the season off the bench for one team and then got traded into a starting role. So it was interesting to run through the list, but we did touch on our picks, I believe, last pod. Maybe we can rehash them, but what were the guys that you were looking at?
I think we agreed on Terry being 6th man of the year, and I think we touched on a couple of guys that played too much, but I think we were. Well, I might have been just wrong. I think I was.
Well, I thought I was quite diligent with going through, because you always have those few guys in your head. You're like, oh, and then you go check. You're like, oh shit, 5 games off, sort of thing. Oh, down to guy, Again, I could have sworn that I checked Russell Westbrook, and he didn't play enough games. And I was happy to not see Portland win another award and give it to someone who's far more deserving than Westbrook. But it's quite obvious with me saying that the winner of the 6th man of the year award is Russell Westbrook, and it was quite convincing. So 89 points overall, 16 first place votes, which skimming a few now, just in general from all the first place votes. Look, later on down the line, there's another boy who won quite convincingly in a bit of a landslide. We'll give you one guess who it is, but I guess I might know about that one there. But Westbrook, he dominated, and it was over our boy Terry Rozier, who had a very good season for New Orleans and was quite impactful for them, much the same as Russell Westbrook. So 2 elite teams that were there in the end. That were really sort of powered by their bench, among other things, and it was care of those 2. So Russell won it. Terry was 66 points overall, 6 first place votes, and Kobe White came in. So I mean, it's like, I won't beat you down on that one there, mate. So but obviously sort of Kobe White was decent off the bench for yourself, and then eventually for Lattice, I believe. So those are the 3 there. Some other names: Tyler Hero, Seth Curry, Tristan Thompson, who I thought was a bit of a smoky, and guys like Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, so on and so forth. And so there we have it, 6th man of the year. I guess that's pretty much a lot.
Congrats again, J-Mac.
Yeah, thanks, J-Mac. So move along. Don't need to stick on that one too long. We'll go to Rookie of the Year, and then we'll start getting into the nitty-gritty of the awards that people are actually here to listen to. So Rookie of the Year. Look, you're not allowed to talk because there's 7 of the 10 guys that are here are your boys. So save it just being like a snooze fest. We'll sort of bonanza. Look, I'll just go off the cuff and sort of say obviously LaMelo Ball's there. Edwards was a guy that I thought in game, obviously he performed really well in the NBA, but in game I thought he just had the skill set and a possible sort of that 2K DNA to really sort of dominate. But it might have just been a factor of of being on the OKC squad. They were pretty stacked and they sort of had guys coming in and out. And I just don't think Edwards really sort of got the play time to sort of
Klemm.
Breaking
news from Ladders. Julius Randle just signed a 4-year, $117 million extension for the Knicks.
Okay. So what's that work out to be? Fuck. That's pretty much like 28, 29 million, eh?
I think it's something like that.
Yeah, cool. I was expecting that. So that's right. Lucky the Knicks are just elitely run these days. And we've just perfectly curated the salary books where we can take that hit and just move on.
I regret starting you on this already.
Yeah. Well, look, that's obviously, okay. Without getting sidetracked to this fucking big like Knicks rant sort of thing, which I'm more than happy to embark on. I was expecting obviously the extension to come. He deserved it. We had to lock him down, and I thought it was coming this time, or sometime this season or next. But now that we've got everything sort of locked down with free agency and just pillaged the free agency market, we had to get our man. By the way, you from now on you have to call me Klemba, and that goes to all of you as well. Klemba Walker is what it's all about. But the Knicks till I die, son. Anyway, thanks for that breaking news there, Shams. We'll get back to Rookie of the Year. LaMelo Ball obviously was up there. Edwards, as I was mentioning, he had a great second half of the season, I think, where sort of OKC were kind of semi-mailing it in a little bit and we're giving him a bit more minutes. So he started appearing on the sort of Rookie of the Week list and whatnot. So he had a good second half. Obviously, Halliburton sort of was decent for the Rockets and for Lattice as well. Bol. So yourself and Lattice really had some good representation, I think, on this list. So the future is bright for the Wolves. But we'll get to it because I don't want to hear your side of things. But yeah, look, this. Apart from the sort of Westbrook sort of landslide in terms of 6 man, this was by far the biggest winning margin in terms of all the awards. LaMelo Ball, congratulations, Ethan and Ball. He won the Rookie of the Year quite convincingly, 110 points. Overall, 17 first place votes for him there. Wow. Yeah, don't act like you don't know there, Ethan.
No, I honestly 100% thought Anthony Edwards was going to win it, and Ladders can attest to this because I told him that as well. I thought Edwards was going to win, so I was surprised when I found out.
I mean, what did Edwards average though? I mean, like, let's be real here, like humble Ethan. So let's see. I'll bring him up now, just so I can sort of get a bit of a feeling for it. So let's see. I mean, like he sort of, his numbers are bolstered, as I mentioned, bolstered by the sort of second half, where he sort of, I think he was sort of starting for a little bit, but just bringing up his sort of stats now. So Yeah, look, game started 38 games, so he averaged 12 points. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up side by side because I'm having none of this, Ethan, because this is outrageous suited to say that you thought.
No, it's like I honestly did, but I'm happy that LaMelo won. But
of course you are.
Yeah.
Bring it up. Just hold on a second. All right, so you tell me. So if I said, okay, pick player A or B, right? Player A, 12 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2.3 assists, shot 39% from the field, 31 from 3. He shot pretty well from the line, as did everyone and his dog this year. Or player B, 12.6 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.8 steals. Need I say more? Ethan, you're my boy, so I'm not going to beat on you too much, but that's outrageous for you to come out and say that. So, but we'll get back to it. Ball won it by a landslide, doubling the points that of his runner-up being Anthony Edwards. Bit of a surprise, Wiseman coming in third, right behind Edwards on 51 points. He got more first place votes than Edwards, and obviously Edwards got there, with the second and third. But he only, how many games did Wiseman play? Like he was out.
I think he only played 40. Like,
yeah, I guess it really just sort of shows how top heavy this.
Yeah, he played bang on 40. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't think that really gets you over the line for any other award. In normal circumstances. So, but well done.
He would have run away with the award if he was healthy the whole year.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like not that I'd ever sort of compare sort of Ball to Brogdon. It's kind of like that Brogdon sort of Embiid, rookie race. Yeah, so I think Embiid only played like fucking 37 games, and majority of people were happy to give it to Embiid and not Brogdon. It was kind of a bit of a letdown, at least in this instance. Ball, even if Wiseman had played the whole time, Ball, I would have been fine with Ball winning it as well, sort of thing, because he's running the show down in Minnesota, and he's really shown a lot of promise, and obviously, proved me wrong, and in the NBA, I'm more so. I thought he was just going to be a bit of a not a bust, but I just thought he was just going to be nowhere near ready to sort of compete in the NBA, and despite his sort of length and size, he was just so slight. And I just didn't think his vision and sort of IQ was anywhere near what it was, because we saw firsthand in the NBL, when he was sort of 18, a young guy, and it was only 1 year removed that he sort of entered the draft and got drafted in the NBA, and just completely different play. He just elevated, to the situation around him. So. Good on you, mate. You got a franchise guy there, pretty much projecting. You'd think, projecting to be easy lock for top 20, top 25 guy at the very least for the next decade or so. So must be nice.
I'm very happy about it.
I'm sure you are. Rookie of the year is done and dusted. So Ball winning that one in a landslide, as mentioned. Now the big ones: defensive player of the year. And obviously MVP. Of course, we'll go with defensive player of the year first. This one was very close. The top, the 1 and the 2. What are your sort of thoughts with who? We did touch on it last sort of pod, so we won't bang on about it too much. But I think we'd sort of mentioned obviously Kawhi had to be in there. Giannis as well. I think Giannis won it last year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was putting up ridiculous numbers, so that was pretty much a lock. And you got Rudy Gobert, you got Embiid. You got guys like Jimmy Butler, PG, sort of all the sort of, I guess, staples of all the sort of top defenses in the league, and as well as guys I think that get a bit of love just because they're known as being elite defenders in the NBA. So it must translate to 2K, and it generally does. But look, and the winner of the Defensive Player of the Year award is Kawhi Leonard, 51 overall points. So congrats again, J-Mac. This is just a J-Mac suck fest. So I'll really just try and get through this as quickly as possible because this is making my skin.
Should cheer him up a bit after the conference finals there, which would be good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, must be nice as I mentioned. But Kawhi Leonard, 51 points, 9 first place votes. Now I sort of misspoke. I mentioned it was close in the 1 and 2. It's closer than 2 and 3. So the two guys are coming up behind Kawhi. He won it quite not convincingly, but it was it was a decent margin. Giannis, runners up after winning last year, just fell short, going back to back with Defensive Player of the Year. I probably you only really give it to Portland because of just how they dominated. Otherwise, stat wise and with the individual stats, again, Giannis just is putting up absurd numbers. Of, off the top of my head, like 13.5 rebounds, like nearly 2 steals, nearly 2 blocks, sort of thing. Clippers are, I believe, also a sort of 4th ranked defense in the league, behind like those sort of like top teams. So Giannis could have gotten it. I would have been fine with that. I think we mentioned that last week. And then third, Giannis had 43 overall points, 7 first place votes. So a little, decent enough margin there between Kawhi and Giannis. And Gobert came in 1 point short. Doesn't really matter because it's the second place anyway. But Gobert had 3 first place votes and came in at 42 points overall, which is pretty interesting that he was so close with 3, like less than half of the first place votes that Giannis got. So he must have just been everyone's third pretty much, and then it was just the rest. But what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think I voted Kawhi because Portland were the best defense all year, and I just he's like the key to unlocking everything they kind of do. So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's very well deserved.
It's quite clear he's the best defensive player on that team, sort of thing. So
yeah, and I have no arguments with Giannis or Gobert either. Like they're both the key to elite defenses on their own respective teams and stuff, and they both deserve the recognition.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I sort of made a bit of noise for Bam, more so just because I was trying to be edgy, go with the hipster pick over Gobert, and I was just really impressed with sort of just the player that Bam is. It's sort of might be a little bit bloated in terms of what he was able to do or what she was able to do, just moving Bam around and just have him dominate the game. But he's going to be a very important piece for Sheed for a long time, or as long as he keeps him around, which he never trades, which will probably be forever. So Gobert on that money and at his age, you'd think Bam would outlast him in terms of being on the Pistons. So, but yeah, Gobert more as you said, more than capable on defense, obviously, and you could have given it to any 3 of those guys, but Kawhi, was the sort of safe pick. You'd bet your money on him. So, but moving along, MVP of the league.
I don't know who this could be.
Well, what you got a bit of an inkling there? Got some insider knowledge there? C Dizzle or what? Yeah,
none at all.
Just going off a whim sort of thing. So, I mean, look, the guys that you'd sort of throw up there, obviously, you'd sort of have Curry, Giannis again, Dame for JJ. He just lit the league on fire since being traded from the Wizards. JJ just sort of unlocked him and pretty much replaced because I mean he was running sort of Butler and Drew at the point before, and then he just plug and play Dame, and he just was dropping 60 on the reg. It was fucking disgusting. So, so it was, and if he was doing that all year long, then you might have, or you probably would have given it to Dame, or maybe Dame did get it. I don't know yet. I haven't announced it, but and then Luka for Charlotte, they got the wins and more than deserving with the individual stats as well. And it's funny that we sort of say like Kawhi was a clear sort of favorite, clear choice for Portland in Defensive Player of the Year. But when you're talking about MVP, it's a little bit harder to sort of pinpoint that guy on the Portland Trailblazers that is able to impact on both ends and be called the most valuable player. So a little bit hard to sort of I say hard, but he's just poleaxing everyone. So you can't really feel too sorry for him. But yeah, a little bit hard to sort of pinpoint one of those guys out of Portland. KD again, we've touched on, didn't play enough games, I feel, for MVP. And then there's probably a solid sort of 10 guys that really put up some monster numbers, but we'll get to it. Won't delay much longer. Another one of those sort of landslide wins. So Steph Curry did win it, shock and awe, but he was averaging. Well, man, every time I look at his numbers, I feel like they go up another 5 points, and I'm like,
I stopped looking at him after like week 1.
Yeah, I know you did, but I just made sure that you were sort of updated quite regularly on that one there, just because I felt like it was something that you needed to know. But it was like 47 points, fucking 85% from 3 on 20 makes or some shit like that. So pretty much carried Denver, a hobbled Denver to to a second round sort of playoff. So. And again, Denver going to be quite mean next year, to say the least. So Curry got that done with. I'm just bringing up the numbers now. It wasn't close. So it was 88 overall points, 15 first place votes. So half the league was pretty much unanimous in that one there. Giannis, another runner-up for Giannis. He'd be spewing. So number 2 again in MVP honors, and you couldn't. I guess you could sort of pin it down to voters fatigue, but because it's like Denver was no slouch. Like how many they won 49 games, but they were a 6th seed. Like that's that in itself is pretty surprising. So just sort of a testament to like how obvious it was that Curry was the be all and end all of what Denver was doing. I guess when your only competition being Giannis is putting up absolute freak show numbers, is only a handful of wins above you. Then maybe that sort of swayed a few voters. But I sort of feel if Clippers had come out and lit the world on fire, was sort of around about that sort of closer to 60, maybe Giannis would have gone back to back. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like you look at Giannis's numbers and they're just ridiculous again. Like it's just out of this world. But then when you have Steph shooting 12 threes a game,
so efficiency
or something stupid, 60% of them, and it's nuts. And I think, in all honesty, like he'll probably be one of the top 3 next year. Like you get Clay coming back and all that kind of stuff. Like you think they go up in the standings, he's going to be putting up ridiculous numbers again. Like
because it was really only sort of Stephanie's way, to be honest. Again, sort of like I mentioned, look, maybe Dame, maybe you could have gone sort of Dame, but I wouldn't have really gone Dame over sort of Giannis, even though he did come 3rd in MVP voting. 36 overall for Dame there, and 4 first place votes. So obviously Giannis got a few more nods for 2nd and 3rd. Luka was 4th. We'll go through it a bit more because it's MVP is worthwhile mentioning a few of the other guys. But Luka came through in 4th place. 3 first place votes for him. Kawhi Leonard coming in 5th, which is crazy for a team that's like hardly or nearly 180 games. And we got LeBron there. And we got Paul George and so on and so forth. So all the sort of usual suspects, I guess, in terms of MVP. But you're right. Giannis, I'd be hard pressed to sort of think of maybe sort of if Craig and Charlotte are sort of still all in, and maybe if next gen sort of is just really favorable towards Luka, and he's almost like a sort of a baby Giannis in terms of not comparing them anyway, but you know what I mean? Like they're just those fucking walking triple doubles. He's going to go out and average crazy numbers. So I think sort of Luka, LeBron in his prime, obviously, but he's a little bit over the hill now. Depends what happens, which team he ends on, or if he stays on Philly. But I think Luke is the next one in line in terms of just being able to put up just absurd numbers across the ball, where you just can't even really contest it. It's eye dropping sort of thing. So. But Giannis will definitely be there, and as you mentioned, Curry will have a bit of help next season. So I think the engine sort of quietening down a little bit. Clay in there. Maybe Michael Porter Jr. takes a bit more of a leap. and is a little bit more lethal. I hope not, but he probably will. And Denver might make some moves. They're not in a great spot, sort of coming into free agency, but yeah. I say that, but they got Curry and Clay. So, but yeah, it's pretty much going to be those guys, I think, next year as well. So you're right. But look, and that concludes the regular season awards. Obviously, we have the teams to round out the awards, ceremony. So it's been a blast so far. But now I'll bring this up. I don't believe, from memory, you guys can sort of, or maybe you OGs can sort of correct me, but I don't believe we ever went all the way to third team in the past in NLL. And I can't remember exactly what we did last year. I think we might have just gone to the first and second team. Again, it was a lot of work, so kudos to Lardis for doing all the legwork this year. But we'll go rookie teams first, you think, or what do you reckon?
Easy, bro. Yeah. May as well leave first All NBA for last.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're gonna leave it crescendo here. So, but we'll rattle through all these ones, and then we'll sort of finish up with the first. I guess it'll be all NSL teams, 3, 2, and 1. So, bring it up. We'll go through the rookie teams. Look, I've got a bit of an inkling. Maybe some of your boys might be in this one. They did, some of them did do okay. And yeah, I mean, you'd think LaMelo is pretty much a lock for, or he's pretty much, LaMelo's a lock for first team. So we'll just rattle off the second team. Might be a couple surprises here with second team because the pool was quite shallow, of course. But you want to have any guesses for second, or you reckon we'll just bang straight into it?
I can just bang straight into it.
Cool. All right, sweet. So the second team or second rookie team was Isaiah Joe Bay. So your boy there, nice work. Anthony, Precious, and Wiseman. So look, personally, I probably would have picked those guys. Maybe I would have swapped out Joe for Halliburton or whatnot. But without giving away too much for who might have been in the first team. But what do you I mean, any other names you want to sort of throw in there, or is pretty much?
No, I think that's a pretty good list there. I think I thought Precious might have actually cracked first team. That's a bit of a surprise to me, but I
putting up some numbers, man. So for sure.
Look,
good on them for those boys there that they came in for the second team. We'll get on to the first team because that's the one that matters. But lo and behold, obviously LaMelo coming in at point, Edwards at 2, Stewart, Halliburton, and Bol. So shout out to another couple of your boys there. So you'd be quite chuffed. And I'm glad you were prepped pre pod because I think we would have just ended it there. I just would have lost you. So but yeah, good on you, mate. You've hit well on your young boys, and they represented you well as the cream of the crop for this class. So again, future is bright. There's pretty much not really much to say about those teams because you wouldn't really swap out any of those guys. So we'll move along to the all defensive teams. This one there might be a few surprises here with this one. So usual suspects, but it's not so much a lock that like we were talking about last time. But this one I might get your thoughts on what you might think the second team could be for all defense.
Second team's tough because I can't even remember who had on my first team, but I think for second team I would have had Drew, PG, probably Bam because Gobert would be on first team. Trying to think.
It's kind of hard doing it this way because it's like you don't know who came in first and who got snubbed, sort of thing. We'll just sort of rattle off because I don't know how long we've been going for now, but it's been a little bit. So look, the second team, this will be some surprises, and this will give us a bit of an idea on who may or may not have been snubbed. And the first team might be a bit more interesting to sort of have a bit of a crack at. So, second team was Porzingis, Giannis. Came second, came runner up in defensive player of the year, and he's got second team.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, and then Paul George, Butler, which is stiff. So already you sort of might get a bit of an inkling on who might be in the first team, because there's some pretty good defenders on that Spurs side. And this is a bit okay. Larders would say that this is well deserved and everyone's sort of coming, but this is out of left field for me. But Lonzo Ball as a point guard for the all defensive team. Look, dude's a wizard on defense. Don't get me wrong, but it's just yeah. I mean, it's the Suns, like sort of thing, like, and Lonzo in game just isn't really sort of on the same sort of level in terms of promise, and he's a bit of a non-factor on offense. I know it's all defensive teams, but it matters. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I remember talking to Ladders, and he said that Lonzo led the league in steals.
Yeah, that's what he said to me as well. As soon as I fucking said, "I'll let Lonzo pick his trash," like who's running this fucking shit show. But I got promptly reminded that box score stats matter, of course. But Giannis is in the second team. But we'll move along. Otherwise, Ladders is gonna fucking get a bit how you going about it. But well deserving Lonzo. Look, big shot one there. Obviously, Giannis coming in the second team.
That just makes no sense. Following your voting for Defensive Player of the Year, then
because it makes you then wonder who got first, like in those sort of like those spots. So because I thought if again, we talked about it last week, we sort of rattled off a few, but Giannis was like the guy that I would, if I was pushed on, okay, what do you think your all defensive first team is? Giannis is pretty much like the guy I might, Giannis, lock, and then I'd rattle off the rest, sort of thing. So it was like Giannis and Embiid, yada yada yada, and then I'd have a bit of a torment myself over the other three. But Giannis is a big one. Porzingis is a look, I'm pretty sure he led the league in blocks, he's right up there, 3.3 blocks, I think, from memory. It's just there was plenty of other bigs that sort of also did it on the glass, also sort of was that defensive anchor, whereas Porzingis just isn't that sort of top tier sort of defensive anchor that really just elevates your defense. But look, in the end, block shots matter. It stops points. That can be the difference between a game. So I'm fine with that. Paul George, look, I was fine with that in terms of wings. It's kind of hard to pick those wings. And Butler. So look, Butler was a shock to me, but I guess I understand it, sort of thing. So the first team, with that in mind, with who was selected for the second team, who do you reckon got in on the first?
I'd have Kawhi, Drew, Rudy, Embiid, and Bam. I don't know.
No LeBron or what? Like you'd have LeBron?
I mean, I would, but he just didn't play a ton of games. That's the only thing I think might hinder him. I would have had him on second team.
Exactly. That's what sort of, that's the other big. It's who was left off was the other big sort of thing for me that I noticed.
Yeah.
Look, we'll bang into it because I'd rather just sort of break it down. The first team, all NSL defensive team, Embiid, that's fine. Anthony Davis, which look, it's not like it's a shock. I mean, Anthony Davis is a freak show on D, but he just wasn't quite there in terms of this engine and what he's able to do. And Chicago, they had a great run home. They were awesome in the postseason, but it's regular season awards, and we can't get too caught up on recency bias. But Anthony Davis was a bit of a shock one for me there, just because of the competition he was up against in the front court. Kawhi, as we mentioned, and Drew Holiday. So for those that were sort of, might have been thinking ahead, if Butler was coming in on the second team, then you kind of think that Drew's probably a bit of a lock, like in that sort of guard spot. Simmons was the other one, in the, and I think that's more of a, you kind of feel that's a bit of a case of just because of how elite he is in NBA, you just sort of got the nod there with Simmons, or what do you reckon?
I don't know. I feel like Simmons is like, he's a great defensive player and stuff, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think like I don't remember where Miami ranked in defense this year, but I think all those other guys, they're all on the upper teams and the conferences and stuff like that, and they're obviously impacting winning and stuff. And not to say that Simmons isn't impacting winning, but
yeah,
like the way the conferences shake out, I don't think you can really dispute like who got in, except like here or there a couple. But
yeah, that's it. And Simmons just wasn't. I mean, obviously offensively, not that he's really sort of all-star level sort of caliber guy on offense, but he just, whatever it was, he was just a victim of this engine, and he just was, he's a guy that you sort of tout to be like a poor man's LeBron in terms of production and numbers overall. And he was more or less, he was pretty much the difference between Miami being probably like a top 6 side and on a bad day and where they ended up, which wasn't that far off, but they started off really slow. Obviously, CJ going down did hurt them quite a bit, so then it's just compounded with Simmons' sort of deficiencies in this engine. But looking at the numbers now, I mean, they were 19th overall in defense. It's kind of hard to sort of be highlighted in a system that relies quite heavily on CJ. CJ was running point at times, so it was really sort of, it's probably just not the best of pairings as well. And I mean, they had all the size and everything, but they just didn't really have that sort of punch across the board offensively to get it done night in and night out. So it's just sort of hard to look at numbers like that. 19th ranked defense, and
I think Gallo let Pete down a bit this year, and
it was a couple of guys. Yeah. I mean,
as well. So, but like before, like CJ was humming for them at one point, and then had he not gone
31
down
points or something,
had not gone down for 6 weeks or whatever it was, like they're probably like well up in the conference's standings as well. So Simmons probably would be getting more recognition too. But it's just one of those things. Like,
I mean, they had a sort of a bit of a shocking sort of end of the season close out. They lost 5 in a row, and they were fighting, or was somewhat in the running for that sort of 8th seed, and they played in the play-in and sort of we quickly escorted out. But you kind of think with looking at teams like Chicago's probably a bad example, just because of what we already touched on. Teams like Indy floating around about 50 wins, you probably would have pegged them in there. I just really sort of thought, Miami just were really going to pretty much glitch out, like with all their sort of bigs, and they've really done well with their sort of front court depth, and it just really didn't pan out for them. They were smashed injury wise. They do have Isaac still out. He's going to make a big difference. I don't think Bumba was as good as, he's really sort of tapered off and just sort of fallen off a lot of people's lists in terms of sort of promising prospect, but just sheer size and sort of tendency that 2K has alone, I just would have thought he would have been an absolute monster. Obviously that was sort of signified with him dealing DJ to me early in the season that he probably was, maybe going to look to the future sort of thing, and which he still is very much doing so. He's got a nice young core, but we won't bang on too much, getting in lost in the weeds there with individual teams, but that's surprising. The big shock for me, no LeBron in those teams, and we're talking about sort of guys putting up stats and sort of maybe not putting forth the best case. I mean, LeBron put up some stats, and I mean, looking at it now, I mean, I'll have a look at but I'm pretty sure Philly were, I mean, they were league leading sort of defense for a good half of the season until LeBron went down, and it wasn't even close. They were just grinding teams out. Like, they were keeping the guys to, keeping teams to sort of 90, low 90s or something like that. It was a bloodbath facing them, and look, even now with all the games missed from LeBron, they're ranked 4th defense. So yeah, he pretty much got it done on both ends. And looking at his, I'll bring up his stats now because I'm pretty sure he's averaging a block a game. Like he was putting up crazy stats, man. But that's a bit of a snub there. I think to not even make the second team. I think maybe people obviously were knocking him down on the games played. But we didn't really see that sort of be a factor in a lot of other decisions. 53 games. I mean, it's right on that threshold. I think. Do you admit? Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Look, 8 rebounded, 1.7 blocks, 1.3. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's look, that's. I mean, I don't know what to say, but yeah, Davis a bit of a surprise. The others pretty much, I'm fine with that. Gobert, who came, I think Gobert we were saying came third defensive player. He's right up there, and he didn't get a nod as well. So could just be positional, based, and the guy just being edged out in the end. So a couple of surprises there, but it's good bit of a to be shocked, not just have everything signed, sealed, and delivered. But we'll get on to what matters most. I think with the all NSL teams. Look, how do you want to do this?
I think go from third to first.
Yeah. I mean, I might just rattle off third, just sort of get a few names out there because there are a few sort of interesting ones there. We might sort of throw a few names out for second team or who we think was deserving, and then we'll finish up with first team. And look, the third team, all NSL third team, we had Gobert coming in at center, which I'll rattle them off. I've got a whole thing I want to say about Gobert. But yeah, Gobert coming in at the center position. George at the 4, which a little bit surprising there for me. LeBron, he's getting shafted. He's Wash King hashtag, but he came in at the 3, Booker at the 2, and Mitchell to round it out, playing point. Look, I'll let you. I've been rattling on, so I'll let you go on first in terms of the third team. What's your standouts? What are your thoughts?
Without giving too much away, like I personally would not have Gobert in all NSL teams. Like,
no one will. No one would. What the fuck is this?
He's a great player and all, but he gets his recognition in the all NSL teams, Defensive Player of the Year, and all that kind of stuff. But I don't agree with the all NSL.
Look, fun fact.
I don't want to say who.
I'll give this little tidbit before we move on. He's ranked 60, I believe 64th, or thereabouts. No slump, like sort of thing for what he does. It's impressive given his stats that he's that efficient and that good that he's able to rank in that sort of range. But 64th overall. For context, Kawhi Leonard, who just won Defensive Player of the Year, has got a whole laundry list of accolades and whatnot. Was ranked 21st, which was the second lowest ranking player, which theoretically the top sort of it's 3 teams made of 5, so it's the top 15 guys theoretically. So it's going to be around about that sort of range in terms of who gets in, and come in at 64th. Like, I don't know. I mean, who would you have put over Gobert? I think we both know who the sort of the second and first sort of center guy is going to be. So we'll leave those sort of top 2 or 3 guys. But who would you put over Gobert? If you had your say.
It sucks because I'm like giving it away. Like, who hasn't made it at this stage? But
I mean, there's guys like, we'll just throw it out there because I'm not gonna. I'll say which team they fell on, but we know Joker, we know Embiid are going to be there. it's still position limited, but you're pretty much going to get, mostly a small ball type 4. So you're never really going to see sort of 2 big men in those sort of first and second 10. So we can knock them 2 off. So I guess you're looking at guys like sort of, AD, Porzingis. I'll go sort of check the standings now. I mean, there's Vooch. No bias there, but and I mean, who else would be sort of deserving? It's not a long list. I'll give him that, but Gobert. If we sort of go to, I'll bring up the top ranked big men, and we'll sort of just we'll get a bit of perspective in terms of why this is such a trash decision. So, but look, we got Porzingis. There's Ayton. Drummond. Even Jordan. He saw some time for the Kings, obviously, and ended up in New York. DJ's there. Whiteside cheese quite a bit, sort of thing. So, for what Gobert brings, I mean, yes, his badges are obviously going to impact your team in a far superior way, but for what he brings, there was probably 3 or 4 guys that were right there in terms of mimicking the same numbers or easily bettering them. So, look, we'll move on. We don't need to bash him too much. The guy is a stud. So, but I was quite shocked with that one there. For myself, Mitchell was a good nod to the efforts of New Orleans, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's very well deserving, and he's another guy who benefits from the engine, like small shifty guard again. But I still think he's more than deserving of that position.
Yeah, 100%. I think his guy's going to be right there for years to come. I think it was just a little bit early when you compare him to the other sort of guards that could have possibly sort of got in there. We sort of ran into a few guys before, but off the top of my head, you could have put in like sort of CP, Beal, who else is there? Morant. Again, like there's those top guys that we won't sort of mention because we know they might be coming shortly. But he's deserving. And I mentioned his name, I believe, last pod, more so just as a bit of a shout out because I felt like he might have just pretty much got shafted, just unfortunately. So I'm happy to see him come in at the point guard spot.
Definitely.
So it was a good surprise there. And Booker, speaks for himself. I'm not mad at that at all. We'll go to the second team. I think my laptop's actually dying, so we'll get through this. And I'd hate for it to cut out right at the peak, right at the pinnacle of what we're doing here. But the second team, again, I'll rattle through it. And the first team, I think we'll try and. I think the first team's pretty much a lock. So that one's sort of All right. How about this? What do you reckon? I'll go through the first team because we both pretty much are in agreement. It's pretty much those 5 guys that are getting it done. Then the second team I think will be good to shoot a bit of shit about. But the first team, just to jump the gun, we got Embiid, which is fine. I was expecting that. Giannis, of course, Kawhi, Curry, and Lillard. So, any surprises? What do you reckon?
None at all.
None at all. So, moving on. Of course, I don't want to breeze over it. Congratulations to those guys. They were all demons for their respective teams. It was good to see Kawhi get in there because Harden's a big old pig, and I hate that guy. But Curry and Lillard, demon, absolute killers. No surprises. But the second team, we've got. There's a few sort of names out there. What are you sort of guys that you were sort of thinking we're going to come in quite comfortably, or maybe be a bit of a surprise for the second team? What do you reckon, mate?
I think here, I'd probably comfortably have Harden and Butler and probably Jokic, whatever. Jokic. Who are we with him? Luka.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even know the fifth off the top of my head, but I think
if it was a 6th guy for the first team, you probably would have put Luka in there. So you'd think he's obviously in there. And Joker, you put up the numbers. Houston did really well to close out the season, as did Joker. It was mainly fueled off what Vitt was able to do with Joker. Late in the season, he was putting up some ridiculous
And
stats.
KD's who I'm forgetting.
Yeah. It was always the games for him. I was just, but he's always going to get that sort of nod when it comes down to splitting hairs. But we'll get to it, and stop sort of stalling. But yeah, of course, the Joker came in at center position. We got Luca, that was to be expected. Durant, Harden, and Kyrie. So, couple guys there that missed a fair bit of time. Sorry.
Was Jimmy on the third team?
No. Jimmy got shafted, mate.
Yeah. I'm surprised by that, but
yeah, that's surprising. So yeah, now because so they had Dame. So Jimmy got shafted. I mean, you say shafted, but like when you're comparing the sort of individual stats, he wasn't quite there. But it was another one of those sort of cases, much the same with Portland. It's sum of all parts type thing. And Harden really sort of did a whole lot of sort of heavy lifting for Portland with a lot of the time it's sort of Kawhi and Co were out. So Harden, I think you'd sort of have to chuck him there. They won fucking nearly 80 games, so them two guys have to be there. Kyrie was lights out for the games that he played, and obviously KD put up monster stats, missed games, but who else are you going to put in over him? Luka and Joker. So look, for the most part, it was to be expected. A few surprises, which is always good, made things interesting. But I think this one's been going on for quite some time. We always do this. We have this big fucking list of we're gonna hit this point and then hit that. We're gonna be efficient, and then we just rattle on, or I rattle on more so. We just sort of 2 hours later. So we might save the rest for another pod, which I'm
keen to watch the end of this finals game, number one. It looks like
no shit. The finals. It's finals on. What's the score there? Give us an update.
131 to 129 with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Dame has 63 points and 12 assists.
Wow, he's gone he's gone Sacramento. Sacramento. Wow.
Who's the leading scorer on the Pistons?
What, as in this game, or what? Like, or
who is it? Who do you think?
Well, Kyrie, I guess.
No, it's Lowry. Lowry's got 47 and 12 with 5 steals.
Wow. Oh, I'm just looking at it now. Fuck. Spurs are shooting 60%, 50% from three. This is just fucking ridiculous, really. I mean,
it's gonna be 150 to 145 or something stupid by the end of it.
It's just so crazy. It's just like this is two teams that have just cracked the fuck out, and it's just like whoever just like cracks cheeses more over the other team. This is ridiculous. It's just so even. It's so like unnaturally even. It just irks me so bad. 68 points in the paint to 70. They both have just until recently, they both were on 87 shots each. It's just, it really just comes down to three throws, like who gets the benefit of the whistle. And it's crazy that the Spurs are getting shafted in terms of that. So pretty even in terms of the foul count, but just it's really just a case of the Spurs are shooting fucking 60%, but it's quite a big difference in terms of the free throw count. I mean, having a look now, wow, fast break points, care of sort of Detroit there. It's crazy that Sheed's sort of running something that's cheesing on Lowry, because he's just obviously realised that's what he needs to do. Oh, Kyrie got fouled out, man. Personal foul. Yeah, Kyrie got fouled out.
Oh, wow, he did too. That's huge.
Wow. 50. I only 52 points in the third. Oh my fucking god, man.
And Drummond's on 5 fouls too, with a couple minutes left. So
yeah, he's only played 30 minutes. Wow. Oh my god. I don't even want to look at this anymore.
I reckon we wrap it up there and go watch the end of this, and then
I don't even really. I'm sort of I'm depleted now. I don't really, you can't even really break it down. You're like this is just fucking cheat code. It's like who can just smash the more cheat codes than the other. And yeah, my laptop will probably die, so I want to give it a proper send off. So we'll obviously go on with the other things we mentioned on the next pod. Break it up a little.
Congrats
bit.
everyone who won awards.
Yeah, for sure. It's been great as always, my man. Cheers for joining me. Yeah, on this special edition, the NSL Awards pod show for Klemm and Cornhill or Cornhill. You decide. Let us know in the Discord chat. But yeah, thanks as always, my man. Love your insight, and yeah, can't wait for the next one. Cheers, my man.
Easy, bro. Talk soon. Take care.
Catch you, brother.